Search engine optimization, or SEO for short, is the process of, you won't be surprised to know, optimizing your page for search engines. So Google, Bing, and so on and so forth. Just for the sake of simplicity, I'll refer to Google, but it includes all the other major search engines as well. So in the book, if you've got the copy of the book, if you've got the get the pack on the menu there, we talk about a lot of the theory about what keywords and phrases to use. The short version, just for this boot camp, because this is more taking action, is to pick something specific. In the book we talk about long tail strategy and semantics and so on and so forth, about how you can pick the best one and how you can research what keywords are being used by other people. But this boot camp is all about cut to the chase, getting on with it and giving you what you need to get cracking, which is what we're going to do now. So I'm going to go through a series of key tips that you can bear in mind for all pages on T4S and make sure that they are as optimized as possible, with the target obviously to get to #1 on your Google results, or the very least on the first page, ideally above your competitors. Okay, so let's do that. I'll put my specs on because I'm going to read this out and we'll go through the steps one at a time. So without wishing to duplicate the entire day we spent on copywriting, just to stress that Google can read pretty damn well these days. So Google will read a page and it can work out whether it's a good page or a trying to bend the rules page, or just a crap page. So write good quality, valuable content, the sort of content that if you were reading a page you would hope to see, because Google these days has quite a lot of information from out there on the internet, and it can work out a good page and a valuable page. So the better your copy is, the more specific it is, the more relevant it is, the more targeted it is, the better Google will like it. If it's a general wishy-washy waffle page, then Google will know it's a general wishy-washy waffle page. The theme throughout this bootcamp, I'm sure you picked up by now, is focus, focus, focus. Your key target, their problem, your solution, the key benefits, what to do next. That's what your page does. So each page should be talking to a specific audience, and if you've got multiple landing pages for multiple audiences, you're doing it the right way. It's another reason why websites suffer, because they have a generic homepage for anybody who comes along, whatever they're looking for, whoever they are, however they talk, whatever their problems are, whatever solution they're looking for. Very hard to grab and direct traffic, which is why websites are generally struggle with conversion. Landing pages specific to an audience with all those things I've just mentioned, you'd have one for each one, tied in from adverts, whatever it would be, giving specific value to that audience, and Google knows. So that's the point of #1, just make your page good and useful and valuable. Okay. #2, page title and description. On your Google results, you want people to look at it and want to click on it, take action. So you want the title and the description to be very action orientated, but also you want it to be relevant. So if you're selling widgets, say so. If you're selling services for business consultancy, say business consultancy. I would say you need to be far more specific than that, because business consultancy is like 10 a penny, millions of them around the world. Well, maybe not millions, but yeah, you get my point. So specific. Business consultancy, no. Business consultancy for what? For who? Why? Get it drilled down in your page title and description. In a second, just after we do #3, I'll show you where we do that in T4S if you haven't worked out by now. So #3 is the web address, which again is relevant. You could use welcome, but you could say widget to solve problem X. Because then Google again. When Google's ranking pages, it's got a long, very long list of things it's looking for. If someone tells you they know what that list is, they're either lying or they're in charge of the Google search engine research department. No one knows exactly what it is, but people in the industry have a pretty good damn idea, because they see what works, and through their experience they can advise on what things have worked for other people. So this checklist, everything you do, like a relevant web address, path or URL, is not going to go from 0 to 50% in the checklist. It's just going to be a little tick box, but they all add up, and that's the point. If you do all these things, they all add up. Okay, so that's page title, description, and web address. Let me show you what I mean. In the funnel, you can pick anyone here. The page that you're going to be sharing, that's the one you want to focus on. Pages in my bootcamp here which are locked, that search engines are never going to index, I'm not so bothered about, because that's an all-in internal service. So I wouldn't go through all of my 34 pages and do this. But the first one, which I'm sharing, I would want to click on page details there, put in a relevant page title, a page URL. This has been shared, so I'm not going to change it, but in hindsight, I've got T4S.site/bootcamp/ something. Welcome may be relevant to this, just because I tend to not use search engines as a primary source of traffic. It's more about sharing via social media. And then the description, action orientated, relevant, make it something that people are going to go, oh yeah, okay, I'll have a look, and click. You can, if you want, discourage search engines from indexing this page. It's a request which people like Google and Bing will honour, and that if they see that tick, your page won't be indexed. It will skip the indexing. But down the bottom here, change image. When you share on social media, this is the image that people will see. So you click on change image, and you choose an image you've got, upload one if necessary. That's the image which will be shared on social media. And update. Now, if you've shared it previously and you want to change the image, Facebook does something called caching. Caching is its own copy of what it's previously got. It's basically to make everything faster. If you change your image, you want to tell Facebook that you've changed the image. So in your browser, Google for Facebook debugger, and click on the first link. I'll guarantee it'll be the first link. And you put in the path, the full path, the full web address of what the link is that you're sharing, and click on debug. Facebook will then say, this is how we got it before, the old image. If I'd have changed the image, I click on scrape again, it goes away and gets the new image, the new page title, the new page description ready to be shared by the next person on Facebook. You have to be a bit persistent. It doesn't always happen first time, so if not, give it a go, click on scrape again 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and eventually it does get there. Okay, that's that. Number 4, use headlines appropriately, each with one primary keyword, limited to 70 to 80 characters and relevant to the page title and content. Do this in tandem with your copywriting, where we talked about headlines. Good action, attention grabbing headlines that make them read the next sentence, remember. But if you've got a keyword that you found, and in the traffic sales book we talk about, as I say, the long tail strategy and semantic indexing, and also how to find out which keywords you can use that are currently being searched for. And remember, Google Analytics, again, great source to see what people are searching for to get to your page, to allow you to adjust the content for better SEO results. So Google Analytics, check those out there, and also check the chapter in the Traffic for Sales book to get the theory behind what we're talking about and how to get those keywords. So not massively long headlines, these are headlines. In T4S, however, you want to say this is a headline, because Google will see what's called a tag, an H1 tag for a primary headline, an H2 tag for a secondary headline. You don't need to know about that, but you do need to use your headlines when you're adding your text to your page. So how do we do that? Let's pop across here and let's pick a page. I'll pick one down here, sort of less important. Let's pick the wrap up. So if this was a public page, it's not. But if this was a public page, and I had a headline written with my keyword and it's attention grabbing and action orientated and so on and so forth, when I add the headline to the page, I want to, rather than paragraph, I want to choose heading or subheading. And in the background, in the code of the page, you'll put the H1 or H2 tag in it, which Google will spot and say, it's a headline. This is more important than the rest of the content on the page. Other than that, once you've chosen headline or heading, it comes in slightly bigger just to start with, so you know. But other than that, it's exactly the same thing. You're done. Have you got the T4S book? Yes. I'm making this up now, but then you just carry on exactly as before, because it's basically a text element. It looks exactly the same on the screen, but in the code of the page is tagged as a heading, and if it was a subheading, I'll do the same thing, just click on there, subheading, exactly the same thing. It's then just a text element in exactly the same way. Okay, let's just make sure I don't save that. So do use those headings and subheadings where appropriate in your copy if search engine optimization is important to you. Number 5, link internally to specific sections of your site and to external credible websites that offer additional value to your user. Google knows. Not quite so important, this one, if you're going through a funnel, because the last thing you want to do is include links to external websites that people might follow and then they're out of your funnel. Blech. Don't want that. Obviously, if you're linking to other pages in your funnel through buttons and so on, that's good. What Google wants to see is that you're basically acting like a good internet citizen, a web citizen, and linking to other pages. And if you're linking to external websites that are highly valuable, highly visited, well thought of in its own indexing, then you get a little tick box, and just another one of those little tick boxes, because you're linking to other valuable websites and your visitor will benefit. And Google's all about giving benefit to its users, to the people who are searching. So you get a little pat on the back by linking to other external ones. But be careful in funnels. Obviously, we don't want people sending away. That's more for traditional websites to give value rather than necessarily funnels, which is once you've got them, you want to keep pushing them through, obviously, and keeping them on your road, not somebody else's. Okay, so that's linking. Number 6, use alt text on all images that describe the image if not shown. Let me show you. So let's pick let's do the same page again. This is for search engine optimization, but also accessibility. So people who are blind, can't see an image, this text is read out to them in their screen reader. But also, although Google can now recognize images pretty damn well, alternative text, as it's called, alt text, will describe the image. So you click on an image, and Google won't know that's a picture of T4S bot holding up a trophy. It might be these days, but I'm assuming it's not that clever yet. So once you click on the image, under the More tab over here, click on that. You can set the alt text, the alternative text. So picture of T4S bot holding up a trophy would be a good alternative text. And that's it. Save. And then when it's viewed in the code of the page, that alternative text is known about. And you see if I just hover over the image, it pops up there. So it describes, and that's the key thing for alt text. It is a description of what the image is. Assume you couldn't see it. Whatever you had to type to describe it, that's what you put in. Okay. Use at least 300 words. I'll put in here, this is a funny one, always debated, so there's no definitive answer about how long a page should be. The common sense view is that it's got to be long enough to add value to the visitor. So, if you've got a page saying buy now and a button, Google's going to go, so if you're on your landing pages, you're looking for perhaps a colder audience that needs more words, that's cool because you'll have more words on the page. If they're a very warm audience where you have less words on the page, you're going to struggle with this one, because if they're warm, or particularly if they're very hot in terms of traffic, they love you, they just want to know what it is and they want to buy it. On your conversion page, you should have a button saying you're here, you got it, click, boom, buy. So there's big balancing act going on. Generally speaking, you want enough content on the page to be able to demonstrate to Google that it has value, and you can't really add value without using a certain number of words. Okay, number 8. Include your keyword in the first paragraph. Clear enough. All of these words, these rules 5 years ago were very hard and fast. The way that Google and so on works now is so much better and so good. All of these they're not black and white anymore, but it's also good from a subconscious reading point of view. If your keyword is about something called widget, to have the word widget in the title followed by widget in the first paragraph, it's just reinforcing to the reader and subconsciously getting that word into their brain. Right. Use your keyword appropriately throughout your copy with lots of useful synonyms. I don't mean put the word widget in every single bloody sentence, because remember, good copy doesn't get noticed, bad copy does. If you put widget in every sentence, it's going to stand out, and that's going to be the impression that you leave people. So use it within a common sense approach. Make sure that when you use it, it just makes sense in your copy. If it starts to feel a bit, You want a widget, I can give you a widget. The widget gives the following benefits. The solution is your widget. The widget. Yeah, no. Just get it in there often enough to remind the person reading that that's what you're talking about. Number 10, aim for a keyword density of about 0.5 to 2.5%. This is more, if you go this far, you're really going to the nth degree. You can take your copy, you can stick it in something like Word, you can look for the repetition and work out how many times it's used throughout. If you want to go that far, then pretty much around the 2% density is how often it should be arrived. I think that sometimes can be a bit high actually, and if it's a long page, one word in 50 being widget, it's about 2%. So again, use it to make sure it's enough to be sensible, so that Google will understand what you're talking about, can see that it's important, but don't overstuff it. Otherwise, your copy just sounds crap, and that's what visitors will remember. Number 11, use original content. Do not copy and paste from another web page. Google's got a copy of all these pages, right? So if you copy it from somewhere else, immediately Google's going to know you copied it. And if you copied it, if it's good copy, it's probably come from a good website with a lot of traffic. It will know, Google, that you've got a new page and you've half-inched it from the other page. So don't copy. In fact, do the opposite. By all means, be inspired by content, but then make it your own. Google, another tick in the box, unique copy will win. Which ties me into number 12 a little bit here, which is the last one, which is a bit techie, called canonical URL. So if you get bored at this point, you can gloss over it, and it's only relevant if you're embedding your funnel inside another website like WordPress or something like that, which you can get a plugin just to automatically insert your funnel inside your WordPress website. What you do, if that happens, it will appear under the T4S.site/whatever, and it will also appear under your WordPress.com website. So Google says, hang on a minute, it's on the internet twice here. I don't like that, because it likes unique content. So you want to tell Google, look, no, hang on a second, I know I've got two, but this one over here is the main one, and this over here is just sort of secondary. I'm telling you that I know this is the most important one, so take this as the main one. So if you're indexing 2 copies, focus on this one please and show that one. How you do that? Quite simple, you'll be glad to know. When you're looking at your page details, so let's just pick up this first one here. If I was embedding this into another website, here, canonical URL is going to be the URL of where you're embedding it. Now if I show you this new quick tab here, that's on the tutorials, embedding in your own site, and this goes through and tells you what to do. So it gives you a download for a WordPress plugin, it tells you about Squarespace, how to do that, and so on. And at the end here, it tells you what the canonical URL is. So you want to put in here the address of where it's being embedded, I assume, because that's the most important. So in here you would put https www.mywebsite.com/myfunnel-page, whatever you put in there. And that tells Google, look, I've got 2 copies, but this one over here is the primary one. It's the right way to do it. All those ticks in the boxes. And that's it. So that's gone through and covered all of those. Excuse me. That image down there is just the canonical URL. So that's the stuff you can go away and do it. The stuff at the top is the most important initially, that you can get into a good habit of doing straight away. Good copy, good page title and description, URL, good image for sharing. Remember Facebook debugger, Google for that. If you need to update Facebook's cache, it's a copy of what your image is if you change it. Alt text on all images is just good practice. Use enough copy in the same spirit as good copy. Have enough words to make it valuable to the person visiting the page, whatever that might be and however appropriate that is. And be original. And that's just a good set of principles to bear in mind when you're creating pages and content to help ensure that Google knows. Ultimately, unless you're getting unless you're getting lots and lots of traffic, it's very hard to stand out from the crowd. If you're getting a small amount of traffic, you really have to focus on knowing those keywords that people are using. Google Analytics, the book, traffic for sales, long tail strategy, that's what you want. get those keywords that you know people are searching for that no one else is indexing for. Because if you can index for those searches that no one else is indexing for, you will therefore naturally rise up the rankings in Google. You know, even to the point of number one. I've done it. You know, and it happens quickly. You know, within a couple of hours we had a competition, and I got a page to number one. I forget what it was. Something I can't remember what it was. It was something, but by going specific, got to number one in Google, and I was there in a couple of hours with a custom domain name and everything. It was magic. So it can be done. It can be done, but you have to go specific based upon the search key terms that people are using for specific searches. Don't go for the general term, because the big boys out there are going to win. Got to go specific, long tail strategy.